The Superman syndrome is what we're talking about. I was looking at a list of top 5 small business mistakes to avoid, and I want to ask our panel George Volman from Volman Ford, Bob Hedlund from Hedlund Plumbing, Lynn Vandeventer, Coldwell Banker, Hubble Briarwood, and Scott Farragon from Cartridge World, if maybe they have, or their business has, the Superman syndrome. Would you like to hear what it is?
Yes,
Sure.
cliffhanger.
The Superman or Superwoman entrepreneur thinks he knows it all and he can do it all. He can leap tall buildings, balance the books, get to FedEx by 5 o'clock, all on his or her own. And this little item here says that every Superman or Superwoman had a legion of superheroes to help sometimes. So hire an assistant, bring in an intern, recruit a board of advisors, and you don't have to go it alone. Are you a Superman?
Yes, I am.
You are?
I will admit it. Yeah, my staff tends to pull responsibilities away from me and do them and say, look, you don't have to do everything. We can help you out. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I do fall into that category.
Do sometimes Scott Farragon feel like, yeah, rather than getting someone to do it, I can get it done faster myself if I just do it?
Sometimes I feel, yes, I feel if I have to explain what I need to get done, then I could have done it in that time.
Exactly.
And does your staff say to you sometimes, why don't you trust us? We can get this done.
Sometimes, a lot of times now, when they see something that might be falling behind, I've got a great staff, and they'll go ahead and do it. And then when I see that it's done, and eventually I am able to delegate it to them. But yes, the delegation is hard for me.
Yeah. And then you have to, like President Reagan used to say, trust yet verify.
Yes,
That's the tricky part. By the time you remember it, and it's not off your mind.
it is. It's a challenge.
You literally sometimes deliver the cartridges yourself as the owner of 2 franchises. Is that true?
I do a couple days a week, and that was another item that I delegated that I didn't really want to at the time, but it's worked out fairly well. Yes, I have one of my staff that goes out 3 days a week, and I go out the other 2, and that way I'm still doing about 40% of the deliveries. I like the one-to-one with the customers and being able to develop the relationships with the customers, which is why I didn't want to give it up.
I'll bet you that when one of your staffers takes the cartridges out, the question they hear most all day is, how's Scott? Where's Scott?
Where's Scott? Yes.
Yep, I
Yep.
bet that's true. That's so. So it's worked.
Yep.
You are Cartridge World.
I am.
Scott Farragon.
I see a market for a Scott Farragon mask, and they just Halloween mask and they walk in and wear
Not
it.
bad. What about Bob Hedlund? Are you a Superman?
I would say that yes, we would fall into that. I don't have supervisors. I don't have all that as far as field supervision. All of that is done by either my brother Tom or myself. We take care. But as you were saying that, I wrote down a couple notes. One of them I think comes into, and I would imagine everybody at this table and anybody in small business would probably say yes to that, because we don't have a quote-unquote board corporate structure. Small business is all about making the numbers work, and the numbers just aren't there. You just can't afford to have the supervisors and the multi-levels of management. It's just the numbers aren't there. So I would say that, yeah.
You
pretty
do
much
end up having to do a lot of it yourself.
Absolutely.
How many times do you show up on a job in the course of a month?
The job. Well, I'm on jobs every day.
You are.
I put a lot of miles on a vehicle. I mean, we work all over the place, and I'm pretty much on the course of doing it almost daily where our men are, and then or at least every other day, something like that. But on a regular basis, they see me, and then a lot of the times that comes down if there's question on how to run something, or a second opinion, something like that. That's where I,
Bring in the owner.
that's what, yeah. And like Scott, I really enjoy meeting the people and being out there and, talking directly with the clients.
How many hours do you work a day, Bob?
I'm in the office. Both Tom and I are both in the office by 6 a.m. That's our office officially starts at 6:30, but we're in there at 6. And it's usually 5:30, sometimes 6 o'clock when we leave.
12
And then
hours.
sometimes I'll check jobs on a Saturday. Saturday is when I catch up on some of the field time and,
So
and
long
catch
hours.
up. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How
I
about
think-
you, Superwoman?
I think I used to believe that I was a superwoman, but I am not anymore. I do have to delegate. We have so many of our clients micromanaging their own properties. We've seen such a huge change in our industry with the internet. So I realize that I can't do it all. And it's been great to delegate and have a great staff that is doing a job even better than you would.
And then you can apply your talents where they're needed most.
That's absolutely right. And it's getting back to the basics. That's what I've had to learn is what what did I start with? What made me successful in the beginning? And it's been a whole new revelation to go back to, starting over. It's been actually feeling really great. And I'm feeling that a lot of companies are going to need to do the same thing, just like Bob, being out with the people.
George Volman, Superman?
Well, I was told when I bought this place that because it was a small dealership that I would have to learn every single chair, which I have done. And but what I've learned is that I have a block of people that I trust outside of the business because I can't see the forest for the trees. So I will plug into them, and because they're not there every single day, they'll tell me if I'm on course or off course. And that's been a very important
great.
consideration.
That's great, George.
Superman listens well, too, it sounds like. That's important.
We try.
Too. Thank you very much to our panel. George Volman from Volman Ford, Bob Hedlund, Hedlund Plumbing, Lynn Van Deventer, Coldwell Banker, Hubble Briarwood, and Scott Farragon from Cartridge World. At the conclusion of this program, which you can listen to again at spotlightmm.com or at Facebook, we ask Suzanne Heward, who founded this networking group that appears on the radio every week, to say,
Thank you, Suzanne.
That's a wrap.